Birmingham City Football Club have always been one of soccer's great mysteries. What they've lacked in success has been more than made up for over the years by great teams, great players and great moments. Whatever the division the Blues are in, they'll always be one of Britain's big clubs. And when the good times return to St Andrews, as they surely will, the terraces will echo to the sound of "Keep Right On to the End of the Road" from their loyal, legendary supporters. Founded in 1875 as Smallheath Alliance, they moved to new headquarters at Munn Street 2 years later. And in 1882, the Heathens won their first trophy, the Walsall Cup. 1892 saw them elected to the newly formed Second Division, which they won, scoring 90 goals in only 22 games. In 1905, the club changed its name to Birmingham, and the following year moved to its current home, St Andrews. The early 20s were a great time for Blues, winning the Second Division in great style in 1921, with names like Liddell, Briggs, Crosby, Hibbs, and scoring sensation Big Joe Bradford. It was no surprise, therefore, when they reached the FA Cup semi-final in 1931. Blues beat Sunderland 2-0 with 2 goals from Ernie Curtis to ensure a first Wembley appearance against local rivals West Bromwich Albion. Back at St Andrews, the lads got in some vital shooting practice. We'll let manager Leslie Knighton introduce them.
Let me introduce to you the Birmingham team. First we have Harry Hibbs, the goalkeeper. Now Harold Boughton, a right back. Ned Barker, who is our captain, that's left back. Jimmy Cringan, a right half. George Morrill, the centre half. Alec Leslie, the left half. George Briggs, outside right. Johnny Crosby, inside right. Joe Bradford, centre forward. Jack Firth, inside left. And Ernie Curtis, outside left.
It was a hard-fought final. Albion broke through to score the opening goal through WG after 25 minutes. But 12 minutes into the second half, Joe Bradford equalised with a 25-yard cracker, which sent the Blues fans wild. It was to be Albion's day, however, as they scored straight from the restart. Richardson scrambling the ball home after a catalogue of defensive errors. But the big talking point with Blues fans was Bob Gregg's goal after 8 minutes, which was ruled offside. They were left cursing their bad luck and could only dream of what might have been. Even in the mid-1930s, Blues and Aston Villa were deadly rivals.
There's a record crowd of 60,000 at St Andrews to see the clash between Aston Villa and Birmingham. Villa light-sleeved shirts, and it's Villa that opens the score through Astley. Birmingham are undaunted either by this early setback or the new Villa stars, and respond with a determined raid which lets Jones, their centre-forward, through to equalise. From now on, it's a struggle for the lead. Villa takes it with another goal by Astley, and then Birmingham makes it a draw when Jones nets again. All the scoring in the first half.
Goalkeeping legend Gil Merrick made a record 551 first-team appearances and was capped 23 times for England. He remains one of Birmingham's favourite sons.
You see, going back to the 46 side, which was more or less my first long run, I mean, you'd got players like Freddie Addis, who was captain, Don Dearson, Ted Duckhouse. What a character Ted was. I mean, centre-half, he took over from Arthur Turner. And he was a rough and ready fella, Ted was, but he could play. He was one of those stopper centre-halves, you know, never say die. And Frank Mitchell, of course, started in that side. Adel Bodle, George Edwards, great left winger, until he got put on the track up at Sunderland, fell at the full-back there, put him across the track, and I don't think George ever recovered from it. Neil Doodle, what a player Neil Doodle was. I mean, you talk about inside forwards, he must have had 2 hearts under his skin rather than one. He ran himself into the ground every match, like, you know. And then again, of course, there's Jackie Stewart. I mean, Jackie came from Scotland, nobody knew about him, he came, and he was the toughest little right winger I can remember. And that was a good side, the 46 to 48 side.
Derby County and Birmingham City met on the Sheffield Wednesday ground in their FA Cup semi-final. Derby, in white shirts and dark shorts, wasted no time, and within 3 minutes they were 1 up, thanks to good teamwork and Carter. In the second half, they put on the pressure, and in the closing stages, nice work by Edwards and Jones gave Mulroney a chance which he was clearly anticipating. 1-1, and that was the result, so the battle had to be fought all over again. As for the crowd at Birmingham, for the 6th round tie with Manchester United, they too got a very early thrill. A centre from outside right, Stewart, and there it is, a first-timer by Higgins.
In November 1954, former player Arthur Turner replaced Bob Brocklebank as manager. Just 5 defeats from then to the end of the season took Blues to the top of the table. Clown Prince Eddie Brown scored the first goal in a 5-1 win at Doncaster to clinch the championship on goal average. Turner's men played some magnificent football that season, scoring 92 goals, including 9 against Liverpool.
It is great to see that Liverpool, you know, themselves can get 9 against Palace. And when they did get the 9 against the Palace, very modestly I wrote to and if I'm advertising, to the editor of the Daily Express, reminding him that not too many moons ago, you know, Brownie knocked 3 in against Liverpool, Birmingham City 9, Liverpool 1. And the following fortnight, Port Vale came and we unceremoniously knocked in 7. 16 goals in a fortnight. Have they scored 16 this season here? Well, perhaps. I go on then. Yes, Tom.
Turning about now to that great era. What a great team you played with.
I was the last piece in the jigsaw. Don Dorman, Arthur Turner came along and, you know, would you like to go up the road? Now, they knew that I could not play centre forward. I wore a number 9 on my back. And the last thing that Arthur Turner invariably said to me, Brownie, when you get out there, get on the wing. So I was more or less a right-sided player coming into the middle, not strictly marked, but Peter Murphy, the great Peter, sadly no longer with us, could knock them in, you know, from any angle at all. Better 2-footed player, you know, never walked. A great guy, but the idea was, Brownie, you get on the wing, Murphy and Kinsey will go up the middle.
Another popular member of that team was Scottish winger Alex Govan. He introduced to the club the now famous anthem, Keep Right On to the End of the Road, during their memorable 56 Cup run.
Going to Arsenal Stadium, the lads had been singing all these English tunes. And Arthur Turner, the manager, said, give us one from Scotland, Ali. And I started singing Keep Right On to the End of the Road. And by the time we got to the stadium, the Blues supporters were all outside. And the boys were still singing it. We'd sung it about 3 or 4 times then, and it was getting very loud when we got to the stadium. And the supporters outside tin it from there. Though the way be long, let your heart be strong. Keep right on to the end. Though we're tired and weary, still carry on till we come to our happy abode.
Their third goal came in less than half an hour when Brown netted.
Oh, you love it. I can sing every word of that, mate.
Up the Blues.
Hey, brilliant. That takes me back.
Up the Blues.
Sunderland in striped shirts, first out at Hillsborough, and 65,000 fans from Wearside in the Midlands there for the Birmingham match. Within 10 minutes, the Sunderland defence crumbles as Eddie Brown passes across and Noel Kinsey slams it in.
The highlight was obviously the semi-final. I think that was the highlight of my Birmingham career. I mean, internationals, forgetting those. The semi-final was the best match I can remember. And it was a marvellous feeling when you knew that you was going to the final.
1 down at the interval, Sunderland opened the second half with a dazzling offensive, a desperate effort to equalise. But goalkeeper Merrick saves the day. He hasn't got 23 England caps for nothing. Playing with beautiful precision, Birmingham rallied and swept the ball up the other end. Right winger Astle scored goal number 2. City's dream of Wembley was reality at last when Eddie Brown seized his chance and lobbed it past Fraser for number 3. So Birmingham, who have never yet won the cup, meet Manchester at Wembley on May the 5th.
A great game, the best game that I've ever played in. Tapper Wiseman, who was then vice chairman, was he not, and co-selector with England, said to me after the semi-final, Brownie said, if you can do half as well at Wembley, I was in for a cap against Brazil the following week. But sadly, the Wembley occasion was a little bit too much for me. Mum was there, the family was there, royalty and the rest of it, you know, and I spent more of my time in the stands than on the pitch. But as I said earlier this morning, Tom, I would like to go back to Wembley every year and lose. They took us away from here on the Thursday, I think. They brought us back sometime the following Monday, never got our hands in our pockets once, you know. A wonderful weekend, and I can still hear, as we walked into the Park Hotel after the game, the band playing, not miserably, very confidently. Here's to the next time. Magnificent, really.
Birmingham City are first to have the honour of presentation to the Duke of Edinburgh. Don Revie kicks off and the final is on. Birmingham, the favourites, are quick to take the initiative and are soon pressing forward to penetrate Manchester's defence. Revie to left winger Roy Clark. Clark centres. And Joe Hayes shoots. A goal in less than 3 minutes and first blood to Manchester. How it must have shaken Birmingham, but in a quarter of an hour they've recovered from the shock and storm along into Manchester territory. Dangerous attack develops. Noel Kinsey takes a first-timer and it's 1-1.
Half-time period was the time to settle what we was going to do tactically in the second half. But unfortunately, something blew up at half-time and we never discussed it. We came out a little bit down and that's how we lost it, in my opinion.
After 20 minutes, Manchester put on the pressure. Soon from a pass by Johnston, Dyson scores. It's all Manchester now, and clearly they're not yet satisfied. This time it's Bobby Johnston who does the trick. 3-1 for Manchester City.
There it is, still unwashed, still stained with champagne, tears or whatever it, but as a shirt again, a little story, and I'm sure one Harry Parks will not be too disappointed when I say that for the Monday paper, I think it was, Tom, the guy said, and you know, why did you fail in the final? Well, I said, whereas they had the V-neck, the short sleeve, I said, we came out in this long sleeve, in this tie, in this collar. All it needs really, you know, is this kind of tie, and we were, you know, dressed for dinner kind of thing. So I said, imagine that wet through, you know, in the Wembley cauldron, multiplied by 12 players over 90 minutes, and I think it worked out that we were carrying about 300 weights more than Man City at the end of 90 minutes, and so a little bit with respect to Birmingham and apologies to Harry Parks, you know, the shirt was, but as a memorabilia, you know, you can't take it away. I will never part with it, and the thing will never be washed.
If Blues had been favourites to win the 1931 Cup final, they were odds-on to win in '56. But sadly, once again, they fell at the final hurdle. It had been a great run, with the Birmingham public turning out in force to welcome them home. That great season also saw Blues finish in their highest ever league position, 6th in the First Division, behind the champions Manchester United, to whom they lost in the FA Cup semi-final the following year. Speedy winger Mike Hellawell was amongst new players brought in during that year to try and maintain Blues' success into the 60s.
Joined the club in '57 from Queen's Park Rangers when I was 18, yes.
Who signed you?
And Arthur Turner signed me just after they'd been to Wembley in '56.
Took you a bit to get your place, though?
Yes, I got my permanent place when Harry Hooper was transferred to Sunderland, and I think Gil Merrick became manager, and I became a regular in about 1960. Yeah.
Your biggest strength, of course, your speed.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes, in those days I could stay on the line and use my speed whenever it was possible.
Earned you 2 England caps?
Yes, I was capped twice in 1962 when Walter Winterbottom was team manager.
The late 1950s and early 60s were times of mixed fortunes for Birmingham City, with genuine joys and sorrows too. The tragic death of brilliant international fullback Jeff Hall at the age of 29 from polio was a blow that sent shockwaves through the football world.
Well, Jeff started in front of me as a youngster, and he gradually improved. And when he went, it was a terrible thing, because I think he was just coming to the peak. And as I say, it was a terrible blow. No one expected anything like that at all.
1963 saw Birmingham City win their only major trophy to date, the League Cup. The final against arch-rivals Aston Villa was played on a home-and-away basis. Birmingham led 3-1 from the first leg at St Andrews, and goalkeeper Johnny Schofield played a blinder in the second, as Blues held on for a 0-0 draw, despite intense Villa pressure. This final had been the culmination of some great cup performances from the Blues in the late 50s and early 60s, when they'd been one of the pioneering British teams entering the European stage, with 2 appearances in the Intercities Fairs Cup final, in 1960 against Spanish giants Barcelona, and in 1961 against crack Italian side AS Roma. But it was this success over Villa in 1963 which finally brought Blues a major trophy. Skipper Trevor Smith holding the League Cup aloft for their ecstatic supporters.
Birmingham played really well. Villa, I think they'd got a couple of reserves in, but I don't think it would have made any difference really. You know, we'd have beat them anyhow. You know, I'm certain. Then we had to go back to Villa Park, and we managed to hold them to a 0-0 draw. And they put us under a lot of pressure at Villa Park, mind you know, but we sailed through it really. You know.
Great win for you. Must have been good
fantastic.
For you.
Great it was. It was nice winning a trophy at Villa Park for another club. I'll tell you that.
Now, you had 5 fabulous years at Birmingham.
Fabulous, yeah. I fell in love with Birmingham City, I did. You know, there was a great club. It was fantastic. And when you come out here and you've got this atmosphere to train in, it was fantastic, you know. I used to love coming here, you know.
Gil Merrick stayed for only 1 more season following that League Cup triumph, leaving the club as their most successful manager to date. In the mid to late 60s, Blues had their ups and downs. They returned to the second division in 1965, where they were to remain for the next 7 seasons. They did, however, reach the semi-final of the League Cup in 1967 and the FA Cup in 1968, losing out to West Bromwich Albion after beating Chelsea with a Fred Pickering goal in the quarter-final. Striker Phil Summerill claimed a regular place in the side the following season.
When I came to the club, we had players like Jimmy Bloomfield, Harris, Leake, Hennessy, Auld, a number of players, international players. Going on then to, when I started again in the team, players like Hockey, Murray, Bridges, Pickering, and probably the best player I ever played with was Jimmy Greenough.
Now you, for 3 seasons, were top scorer. Great years for you.
Great years. Local lad, always supported Birmingham City. Go back as far as 56 Cup final, all the Intercities Fairs Cups. Remember the very good days at Birmingham City.
Stan Cullis spent 5 years at St Andrews trying to repeat his success at Wolves, but despite 2 semi-finals and an attacking style, indifferent league form led him to step down to make way for a younger man.
Look at Joy's hard work. Up, up, up.
Freddie Goodwin arrived from Brighton in 1970 and immediately made his intentions clear.
I believe in attacking football. The public want to see goals. We will endeavour to entertain them, but primarily, of course, we've got to be successful.
Now, the season's, what, a month away. Can you envision Birmingham having a good season?
I would never prophesy, Bill, about how we're going to do. I think we've got a hard season ahead. There are many good teams in the second division. If we're not successful, it won't be for the want of trying.
Among Goodwin's squad was a 16-year-old striker trying to claim a regular place at number 8. 15 goals in 13 games certainly helped.
Played with 3 strikers, Phil Summerill on the right, Bob Latchford up front, and me on the left.
You've had 14 games with the first team now. This was your 14th.
Yes.
Do you feel now that you're fitting in as part of the line?
Yes, I think so more now. At first, you know, it was a bit strange coming to the side, you know, being so young.
Got there well. Good ball from Page. Taylor. Getting in behind him. McFarlane has come away to meet him. And that's Francis. He's got to get one. He has. Trevor Francis. It's 2-0 to Birmingham. 4 minutes into the second half. Alan Page for Campbell. And Pendrey. It's a beauty. And that's a goal. Trevor Francis got it. It's 3-0. Trevor Francis gets his first goal of the season, but he owes it all.
It was a great team then, you know, we had some good players, and it was great to play up front with Bob and Trevor, because when I arrived at the club, of course, they were relatively young, inexperienced players. And I joined them as a pro who probably had 300 games under his belt anyway at that stage, and I think Freddie bought me to complement the 2 lads up front.
The young Francis really was something special.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor, I always say, or people say to me, yeah, but what made Trevor Francis special? And I think he had the combination of deception and speed, i.e. he could drop his shoulder one way and then dart off the other. A lot of players can do one of those things, but very infrequently have the 2.
Francis out on the right touchline. Hatton. That's 2-0. That was so easy for Bob Hatton. 2-0. 42 minutes of the first half gone. Superb ball from Kendall, picking up Francis on the touchline. Cross into the box. Bob Hatton just nodding it nonchalantly inside the right-hand post.
I've just been here now at St Andrews. The memories come flooding back, and you know, these stands used to be full of blue and white scarves, rattles and bells and rosettes. It used to be fantastic. And yeah, it's a great moment of nostalgia to me to come back to Birmingham City. But yeah, they were fun, and away from home as well. Away from home. I mean, we always thought we were playing at home. You know, wherever we played in the country, they were there supporting us. And as you know, Tom, I mean, many a time the gates have been shut at 2:30 at St Andrews.
Young Trevor Francis. He's calling for it back again. Carroll aiming for Latchford. Hatton trying to turn. Good shot, he's got it! Bob Hatton, equaliser. But Francis, plenty of time to knock it back in there again. Hatton, that'll do. Hatton has got it. What a good goal it turned out to be. McDowell is covering the box. Shot is on for Hendry. What a save! And Hatton will make it. He does. Hatton the scorer. Francis. He's away from him. Oh yes! Beautifully done. Bob Hatton. 1-0. Burns getting in there. Yes! Hatton the scorer. Bob Hatton,
Burns, good knock on, that's Hatton. He's in for his 100th league goal. There it is! Hatton! Goal number 3 this afternoon for Birmingham. Goal number 2 for Hatton. Kendall. Hatton stretched wide on the left. Trying the shot. Oh, what a goal! How is it possible to get that one in there? Bob Hatton, the scorer, equalises. And for the first time, Birmingham spectators are on their feet, applauding this moment.
Bobby Hatton used to do all my running for me. I know that. I used to get him to do all my running. I used to just get him the box. With Trevor, we just used to give him the ball. Say, Trev, just get on with it. And you used to just give him the ball, go up the park and score. But there's no real big secret apart from just playing together and being together week in, week out and getting to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And the three of us really did just gel together. You couldn't have asked for a better threesome in your life. If you needed to pick out 3 players to say, look, go and play up front and score goals, you couldn't have asked for it to have worked any better.
In some of these signals. Latchford down for Hatton. What a save again, Latchford. That's what he called following up and picking up the crumbs. Prince Park Rangers, they did. Is it on here for Smith? Hatton. Latchford has got it. Latchford has got it.
Undefeated in the league since January the 1st, Blues roared up the table to clinch promotion, reaching a semi-final against Leeds on the way. But it had been nail-bitingly close. It all hinged on the last match at Orient.
30,000 people plus packed into Leighton Orient, small compact ground. Some 12, 15,000 Birmingham City supporters created an unbelievable atmosphere. I mean, that night we had bomb scares, we'd had Millwall supporters invading the pitch and dancing around the centre circle. And funny enough, I remember at that time going over to the referee and saying, listen, ref, he said, don't worry, son, we'll play all night if we have to, we'll get these off. Which gave you a little bit of confidence, because I always felt we were going to get something. I always felt we'd win that game.
Welshman Malcolm Page, Birmingham's most capped player, was part of that promotion team.
We did seem to have this relationship with one another where, you know, we knew what was going to happen, and you know, that seemed to be how it went.
That relationship stretched to the fans as well, didn't it? Great relationship with the fans.
Sure, yeah. I mean, wonderful set of fans. I mean, looking back now at some of the crowds that we've had here and the occasions, and not had the success to give the fans, you know, but wonderful times. We all tend to look back a little bit with the old rose-tinted spectacles, perhaps, but wonderful memories and, you know, never to be forgotten, not only for the players, but for the fans as well.
Another youngster coming through the ranks at that time was Scotsman Kenny Burns, a versatile player who scored many goals for the club as a striker before moving into the defence later in his career.
Not a bad cross and a fine goal from Ken Burns. Breaks for Hendry. Latchford. And Burns